This
I
conference will now be recorded.
wanted to discuss on the testing concepts first, then we can go to the Tosca concepts, okay? Before going to Tosca, the registration process and how to installation process. Before that, I just wanted to go over some testing, manual testing workflow and also the testing concepts. Then we can jump into the Tosca concepts, okay? So let me open this. So for today, we will discuss on what is basically a software is. Okay, we were talking about software product, project, product, and these terminologies. So project, product, and what is exactly for software testing is, and also the types of software. And we will see the complete workflow of the manual process, like in the manual testing. What is the workflow generally that we follow? Day-to-day activities like creating your test cases, creating your scenarios. We'll take one application as an example. Then we can start creating a test cases and manually test the application. Okay, and also the defect process. How do we follow and how do we create the documents? Fine. I'll share the documents to you guys by end of the session. So, so first thing. So what is software? We were talking about what is software. Okay, software product and testing, right? So generally we'll see what is software first and then what is software testing. Okay, so now any idea on what is software? A basic terminology. What is a basic software? Okay, you can say it is a collection of computer programs that helps us to perform a particular task, right? To do some particular task or a certain task, we generally say it is a collection of some computer programs. So software is a collection of computer programs. Fine. And this is the general basic terminology of what is a software. And before going to the software testing, we'll see the types of software also. So we can define types of software into three categories. Okay, system software, programming software, and application software. So application software is nothing but kind of web applications, you can say mobile applications that you download generally from the Play Store, right? Though those kind of categories, desktop applications like Notepad, calculator. So these kind of desktop related applications. So these entire applications are categorized into an application software category. And programming software, if you see, compilers, debuggers, interpreters. Okay. So system software, if you take an example, the system related software for, let's say, OS. Okay, you'll install OS into your systems, right? So that OS servers, utilities, and device drivers. So these are few of the examples of the system related softwares. We can say example device drivers. I'll say OS, operating systems, servers, utilities, etc. Fine. So second one, programming software. Example, compilers, debuggers, etc. So let's say you have developers have designed some code. Okay, so they need something to run the code, right, to execute the code. So compilers are used in that way to compiling the code. Okay, so they generally once they write the code, lines of code, they need something to run the code, correct? So what is that something? Is nothing but they'll give some input and output. Sorry, they'll get some input through the code, and they will be getting some result, or let's say output from the code, right? So these are the compilers that will be used to to compile the code. So interpreters is nothing but it will write the code, will write a particular lines of code that is understood by humans. So machine does not understand those lines of code, correct? So interpreters will act as an interface kind of thing which converts the coding language into the language which machine can understand. Fine. So debuggers, as you know, it's a program that assists in detection and correction of errors in other computer programs, you can say, debugging purposes. Okay. So third one, as I told you, application software is the final one. So example, web-based applications, correct? Like that we open in a like Flipkart applications that you open in a browser, any kind of applications that you open in any browsers, right? So those comes under web-based applications. And mobile apps also, you can say mobile applications, correct? Mobile applications that you generally download or play in your mobiles, right? So those kind of applications in the Android mobile that you go to the Play Store and download those applications. Those comes under mobile applications, correct? So finally, you can also say desktop applications, etc. So desktop applications, you know, right? Some MS Office, MS Word, and those kind of applications, notepads, okay, Excels. So these comes under desktop applications. So these are the general examples that you basically understand as part of an application software as an example. Okay. So software, it is a collection of computer programs that helps us to perform some certain task. Okay. So types of software is nothing but system software, programming software, and application software. So these are the three categories you can say under a software. Fine. So now what is software testing? So let's take an example. You have a company, or you, let's say you have some bank, okay, called ABC. Example. Oh, 1 minute, guys. Am I audible, guys? Last year, I think you're not able to hear me or any problem.
Yeah, we are able to hear you. Maybe last year you can rejoin the session.
Okay. So now we'll see what is software testing exactly. So let's say we have a company or a bank. Okay, let's say this is a company or any bank that needs some software. It wants some software or a product or some application to be designed to be used in their certain bank. So what they generally do, for an example, so this bank or the company, right? So these people generally approach an IT company because they need some software to be developed for their use in their for their bank use or the company use. So what they'll do, they'll approach IT company, right? So simply approaching an IT company doesn't fetch any results. So what they approaching an IT company means, so this bank or ABC company, they need to give certain details, okay, clear details about the software of the application that they want to be designed, right? So these details will be given by the ABC bank to the IT company, correct? So let's say this ABC bank, what they give, they need to provide certain details of the software to be designed, correct? They'll approach an IT company. This IT company uh, will do again certain steps in order to develop and give the product back to the bank, correct? So this ABC bank will give certain details. It needs to give certain details. So what are the details over here? Details are nothing but you can say budget. Okay. First one will be the budget and also the requirements. The clear detailed requirements will be given by the company or the bank called ABC to the IT company, because if they give the requirements on certain budget, then they'll understand the requirements, because IT company, they will have certain team to develop the software, right? So that team needs to understand the basic requirements or the details of the application. Then they will design the application as per the requirements and test it and then give back to the company called ABC. Correct? So ABC, or let it be a company or a bank, it is approaching an IT company to approaches IT company to develop software, you can say. So now this company is giving details to IT company. So now what IT company does? It will recruit people, right? People to develop the software, correct? Let's say for developers or testers. Okay. So simple, this company is giving some requirements or budget to this IT company. Why it is approaching the IT company? It wants some software to be developed. So this IT company in turn will recruit some people to for developers and testers, such that the code will be developed and given back to the customer. Okay. So this is the process that we follow generally as part of a project, right? So this is like we'll get some requirements from the client and we'll understand the requirements. There will be some document that is nothing but the FRS document. FRS document and these details I'll show you when we do the manual testing approach in detail. I'll share the documents also once we complete these two sessions. Okay. So you can keep that handy, guys, like FRS document and creation of test cases scenarios. This will be useful when you are working in real-time environments. So these are the documents that we generally follow as part of manual testing process. Once we create the test cases or the scenarios, then once that is understood, you'll do the manual testing accordingly. Once the manual testing is done, you can go for the automation testing or the manual testing. It depends on the project to project. Okay. So FRS document is a document which we will be getting the requirements document specifically, the clear in detail requirements of the application or the software product to be developed. Okay. So ABC Bank or the company is giving some certain details and it is approaching IT company to develop the software. Correct? So IT company is taking the budget or the requirements. So based on the requirements, right? Developer will start developing the code. And once the code has been developed or application is developed, then it will go to the testing phase. Correct? So last class we were saying I have shown you one diagram, software architecture diagram. We have divided into two phases, right? So development and testing. So once the development phase is done, it will go to testing. Testing is completed. And why we are going for testing? In order to make an application as a software, a bug-free or error-free product, then we do testing, right? So finally testing is done. It will go back to the company, will deliver the product to the company back to the client. Okay, this is the general process that we follow. So simple here, the software testing here in terms what we can say, it plays an important role because we need to deliver a quality product finally to the customer called ABC. Clear? So this is about the software testing, simple terms, plays an important role because we need to deliver a quality product finally to the customer called ABC bank or a company. So if we give us some defect software, then obviously customer will be frustrated because they are given certain budgets on the time or requirements to us, right? So finally we need to give a bug free product to the company client. So now let's see what is we have seen. We'll define what is software testing now.
Deepthi, last year here.
Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't hear anything from starting. Can you please, if you don't mind, can you please repeat it because I rejoined in other mobile.
Yeah, sure, we'll do that. Let me complete this topic, then I'll come from the starting. Okay, just a glance of it.
Okay.
So you can say software testing is a part of software development process. Okay, part of, because if you see the SDLC and SDLC process, right? So SDLC and SDLC, I'll tell you once this topic is done. So SDLC process, we'll do the development phase, and development phase is done, it will go to the testing phase. If you see, development and testing will be done, like one phase is done, it will go to the testing, then finally to the live environment for use, to the end user for use, right? So testing phase is nothing but it's a part of a software development process only. Okay. So one more, you can say it is an activity to detect and identify the defects in the software, right? To detect and identify. Um, so why we are going for testing, generally software testing, to make an application a error-free or a bug-free product, correct? And you can see the objective of testing is to release quality product to the client or the customer. Finally, we need to give a quality product finally to the customer. Okay. So this is the software testing. It is a part of a software development process, and you can say it is an activity to detect and identify the defects in the software. The objective of testing is to release quality product to the client or the customer final. Okay. So these terminologies are quite important. It cannot be a part of interview questions, but yes, you need to understand these concepts. What is a software and what is software testing basically, because the projects will see these terminologies all the way. Okay. So yeah, last year we were discussing only this one, like what is software and what is software testing. I just given a simple derivation kind of thing. Collection of computer programs that help us to perform some certain task is nothing but a software. I was just explaining about the types of software, that's it. Like system software, programming software, and application software. I just gave the examples over it. And software testing, I've just derived this, like I've given an example. So generally, let's say you have some ABC company or a bank. If it wants some, let's say if it has some application to be developed or the software to be developed, it generally approaches an IT company to get the software to be developed by the IT company. So when it is approaching the IT company, it needs to provide a clear details to the IT company, right? So the details includes like budget and the requirements. So once the requirements of the budgets is given in detail to the IT company, what they do, they certainly take those requirements, understand them. So IT company means there will be certain team to understand the requirements, right? They need to develop the software, correct? So they will generally, if they have some team, they'll go ahead and do the development and testing process. If not, they'll generally recruit people for developer and testing roles, correct? So this happens. So IT company will do this process once a team has been formed. So developer, they will develop the code, and once that phase is completed, it will go for the testing phase, because we need to finally give a defect-free software to the client, right? So this is the example that I have given to generally explain what is the software testing is. Clear, Asya? Any
Yes,
more doubts?
no, thank you so much.
Okay, so we were understanding what is software testing, and the types of software. Now we'll see what is a software quality. Quality is nothing but a bug-free product that we give to the client, right? We measure something. We measure the software quality. We'll say like based on some parameters, we generally define a software quality. Like bug-free product, you can say it is, because when you say a software is a quality product, we'll say if it's a bug-free product or delivered on time and within budget, right? Meeting the requirements, correct? So that is the meeting the expectations, client expectations. That is the prior one. It is a mandatory thing, right? Because we need to meet the requirements, and the software that is developed will be according to the requirements only, correct? So if we are going against the requirements, then it is not that we are meeting the expectations of the customer, correct? So you can say maintainable, like maintainable in the sense like application to be user friendly or easy to use kind of application, not a difficult application of the software that you develop. It should be understandable for every user, correct? So now we'll see what is quality. You can something called as a customer justification, you can say. And you also can say to show how well the software developed is working properly or not, right? And you say like some parameters to like bug free soft product delivered on time and within budget also, correct? And first main thing is meeting the requirements is a must and should, or you can say expectations. Okay, so these are the parameters you consider to measure the software quality. Okay, so now we have seen about the software topics. Now we will see project versus product. Okay, project versus product. So generally we see companies called service based companies and product based companies, right? So now we'll see what is a project. Generally, people might get confused with these two terminologies, project and product. Okay, so project is nothing but if a software application, let's say a software application is developed for a specific customer based on a certain requirement, then it is called as a project. Okay, the vice versa, like if it is a software application developed for multiple customers based on the market requirements, then it is called as a product. Okay, so let's say you have a the same example. You have some bank X. It is asking some IT company to get the software to be developed. So this IT company have developed the product and given to the bank X only, right? So it is specifically it understood the requirements, and it is developing the software for one particular specific customer, right? So this process is nothing but it's entire process is nothing but a project. So let's say for marketing requirements in the sense, so the product, okay. So some IT company or the company with that they have some own products, right? Like let's say for an example, WhatsApp and some MS Office, some Word, or so these are the products. If those kind of products are be developed for marketing requirements, and these products, if you see, those will be used by a number of customers, correct? So this thing is nothing but this whole process is nothing but like application. If software application is developed for multiple customers for use based on the market requirements, then it is called as a product. Okay, you have certain companies also there that they have their own products. Those other customers will also be using, correct? Product based companies, will say product based companies are nothing but for an example, Microsoft, IBM, Google, Oracle. So these have their own products, and other users, multiple users can use those products. So these are nothing but the product based companies, you can say. And service based company, they provide service to one particular client or the customer, right? So those are nothing but you can say service based company like Accenture, Infosys, TCS, Wipro. So these are service based companies, and these are the product based companies. Okay, so let's say project, a software application developed for specific customer based on the requirements, right? Then it is called as the project, right? So this IT company, or else you can say a bank X gives the requirements because it needs some software to be developed, right? Approaches and gives requirements to IT company. So this IT company will turn that process is again different, right? They develop software, testing it will be done, and finally it will give to the bank X to the client. So this is specifically this IT company is working specifically to one particular customer. So this is nothing but a project. Okay. So here you can say service-based companies are different companies that provide service to one particular client. Okay. And product, it is a vice versa, you can say. For multiple customers based on the market requirements. Then it is called as a product. Simple. Like as I told you, some product based companies as an example. So IT company based on the, okay. So this is about the project and the product difference, and service based companies and the product based companies. Okay. So next one, bug, error and failure. These terminologies look similar, but there are some slight difference over here. Okay. So error, if you see, let's say for an example, you develop some code, lines of code, and it is common, right, that human tendency to make some mistakes, certain mistakes. Okay. So these human mistakes or human errors, okay, those are nothing but kind of an errors. Okay. Some mistakes that they do generally, not knowingly, right? So those are nothing but errors. Okay. You can say what a human causes when, as I told you, when developing some lines of code, we generally do some mistakes, right? So this you can say as an example called as an error. Okay. And next one is bug or defect. Bug and defect is same. Okay. Bug or defect will be same. So defect or bug free. We were talking about bug free product, error free product, or error free application. So what is a defect now? So once generally the code is done, we are testing phase, we will do the testing, right? We create some test cases, scenarios will be done, and we will be understand the requirements, correct? So when there is a deviation between the when there is a deviation between what is that you are expecting and actual result, then it is called as a defect, correct? So let's say suppose as per the requirement, okay, let's take an example. You have a login functionality again. When you login functionality, so as per the requirement, what you see, okay, in the requirement document, it is specified like in the login functionality, we have a username, password, and login button. This is the requirement according to the requirement document that is given by the client. So we generally understand and we'll write the test cases, scenarios will be done, and everything is done. Now the testing phase will come. So we'll open an application manually. We'll go to the login page and we'll see you, as per the requirement, our intention is, okay, username, password should be there and login button should be there as per the requirement. So let's say suppose you have opened the application, login page is open, you click on login button, login pop-up is open, and you see some other field is also present. Like login button is there, password is there, and sign in button is there, and some other like it is also asking some employee ID or something like that. So this is asking as employee ID, but it is not according to the requirement. So something they have designed out of the requirement that is not required for the client. You're getting the point? So there is a deviation between, it is against the requirement document. Against in the sense they have designed in such a way that is not required, according to, it is not required, or it is not in the requirement document. It is not needed by the client finally. What they need in the requirement document as a login page, whenever you click on the login button, you should only see login button should be there, username, password, and login button should be there. So this is as per the requirement. So you see some other field also that is asking to fill in, so that then only you will be entering into the home page of the application. So this is like, it is not in the requirement document, but developer have done some mistake over there. So there you can say it's a kind of an error that they have designed. So you as a tester, what they'll do, a tester job, whenever you see something that is not as per the requirement, then you go and raise a defects. So this is nothing but a defect. So for defects also, you generally log the defects, and the defects also, for tracking purpose, you need to maintain an Excel sheet. So whenever you get the requirements, understand them, whenever you design your test cases, right? So the test cases, like before going to the test cases, we generally define the scenarios first. So let it be high level scenarios, low level scenarios. So once the scenarios are done, then we define the test cases accordingly. So here in the test cases also, positive, negative, so those many test cases you can define. Fine. So once the test cases are done, like this, when there is a deviation from the actual code or actual requirement, then you raise a defect. So the defects also, where do you raise it? There will be in the project, everyone will follow like ALM tools or Jira tools will be there. So in the tools, we generally log the defects, so that developers will go to the Jira or the LM tool and see when bug is raised or defect is raised. They will take the defect and design the code again. Okay, they'll correct the error basically. So what they do, they take the defect, understand it, and you need to place certain evidences over there. Evidences is nothing but when you do the testing process, right? You need to capture something, because there should be some proof for your testing, right? So those certain proofs are nothing but called as an evidence, right? So from the testing side, you take those evidences and place it in the defect. So this defect is taken by the developer. They'll see that, okay, what is the defect, and they'll understand it and try to redesign the code again. So once they redesign the code again, it will come back to the testers, because defect you have raised and they have redesigned the code, and you need to verify again from your side, right? Because if it is working or not. So for verification, you need to again retest it, right? Though that concept is nothing but a retesting. So again, it will be coming for you to retest the code. So what you'll do for retesting process, you need to go to the login page, right? And you need to see now employee ID field should not be present as per the requirement. So now you need to see username, password should be there, and login button should be there. This is nothing but a retesting concept. First, you do a testing process. If you find any defect, go and log into Jira or ALM. Once that is done, developers will try to take the defect and redesign the code. Once they have designed the code, again it will come to the testing phase. Testers again, they need to retest it, because they need to verify whether the code is working properly or not. Again, they'll go there. We generally log in into the page and see now employee ID should not be present. So the defect will be closed by the test SSL or testers or the developer, right? This is the process that we follow in a project testing process. Any doubts so far? What is a defect, bug, error? Do you want me to repeat something? So far, I'll stop here. So far, what I'm doing, what I have explained about just a simple terminology called software, types of software, basic example to understand what is a software testing is, right? And we have also seen what is a software quality. Like you can say it's a customer justification when we have derived the parameters to generally understand or measure the software quality, right? And once this is done, I have taken an example of basically understand what is a project and a product over here. Once, okay, project and product, and this is the topic again. And bug, error, and failure. As I told you, error is nothing but a human that generally causes, right? Or that that makes a mistake. Human generally makes a mistakes, right? So it's a tendency of human beings, right? So those mistakes are nothing but a error, simple. And defect and bug, as I told you, if there is a deviation between the expected result and the actual result that you are seeing, if it is not satisfying the requirement document, then it is a defect. You raise a defect and in certain tools for the project purpose. So these defects also from the tester side, right? We need to track these defects. You need to place these defects in a, you need to actually detail in a particular document called Excel sheet. So these Excel sheets also I'll show you. I have prepared the documents. We'll take an application and see, basically understand what is the scenario, what is the test case, and then I'll show you the test cases also. Once that is done, reviews will be there, and once that is done, you if defects are there, so for tracking purpose, as I told you, you need to open the Excel sheets and try to um, clearly mention all the test steps of the defects also. We'll see one by one when we go to the manual testing process. Okay. Here you can say deviation. Now, what is a failure? Yes, guys, what is a failure now? So let's say, for an example, you are doing some transaction in the application. Okay. So the while doing the transaction, right? So something might be failed from the application side. Okay. This is something that is happening from the application side. So this kind of application error or the application failure from the application side, or it is not working, something it is not working, then it is called as a failure. Okay. Which is generally identified by the end user, you can say. Okay, I'll pause for a while. Any doubts so far? Any of the, these are the simple topics or the terminologies that I'm trying to explain. So once you basically understand these, right? So manual testing workflow, when you understand, once that is done, then you can we can go for the Tosca concepts. We'll start with the registration process, installation process, then we can go for the Tosca overview and the architecture way. Okay, any doubts so far, guys? Is it clear? Yes, no, something?
Yes, ma'am, it's clear.
Thank you. So now there is a terminology here you need to understand: software development lifecycle and software testing lifecycle. Okay, so these are the important concepts, guys. So these we will be following in a projects. Okay, so software development lifecycle we were discussing, right? The simple way, we'll get the requirements, we'll understand the requirements, correct? So let's say in the SDLC process, requirements. Okay, next will be designing the code, or let's say designing the code, correct? So we'll understand the requirements from the FRS document, then code will be designed by the developers. So next it will go for the testing. In the design phase also, they will do some unit testing kind of thing that will be done by the developers only, guys. So testers, as a QA testers or QE testers, no one will do the unit testing. Unit testing or the integration testing will be done by the developers only. So those unit testing and integration testing is nothing but, so let's say we have some module, okay, module or a component, or component means like register functionality or login functionality. So developer have designed the code. Okay, so once the code has been designed, what they'll do, they need to internally test the code, right? So those code testing will be done by the developers internally. Okay, so they'll take one line, so they'll take some piece of code. Okay, they'll send some input to the code and see whether they're getting the proper output or not. So this is nothing but a unit testing. Let's say in integration testing, you have module called A, module called B, module called C. Okay, So integration testing, they'll try to integrate these three pieces of code and try to give the input, and they'll be getting some certain output at the end of the module C. Okay, so this is nothing but the integration testing. And these integration testing or the unit testing, it will be done by the developers only. So in this software development lifecycle, what I'm trying to explain is, so keep those topics aside. We'll discuss in detail in the manual testing workflow. So here, as a high level part, SDLC, software development lifecycle. Okay, requirements, they'll understand, design the code, and they'll go to the testing phase. And next one will be deliver the project, right? Deliver the software or product. Okay, so here if you see requirements, they understood, designing the code, and internally they'll test it internally by the developers. Once that is done, what they do, they will deploy the code to the environments. Environments are nothing but the tester environments. So the environments also, if you see a Flipkart application, okay, so that environment, okay, so Flipkart application is there, and tester code, sorry, developer will be having some dev environment. Okay, so that environment will be different, and application will be same. Okay, UI part and everything will be same, but environments, they create a two different environment. Because so testers, if you see, there will be some functionality to add, delete, or something. They can do n number of things, right? They need to do end-to-end testing as part of the application in order to test the functionalities. So the tester environment will be different, and developer environment will be different. Because why they have differentiated? Because we, if something has been deleted or added, or something we delete, it will affect the code internally directly. So that's the reason they have differentiated. They do differentiate. Every project will have a development environment and the testing environment. Okay, so in the testing environment only, because development environment, we don't have um, access to the particular applications in the development environment. In the testing environments, we do only have access. Okay, so the production environment will also be different, guys. So finally testing process is done, then they'll go to the production environment for user. Production testing will be done, and finally they will be going to the end user for the use. Okay, delivering the product. So this is about the software development lifecycle. If you see, the testing is I was explaining here, right? Is a part of the software development lifecycle. Okay, SDLC, software development lifecycle testing, is again a part of this process only. Okay, so in testing SDLC, so what do you do? Testing phase, as we are discussing, right? We create scenarios, test cases, correct? So generally, basically, you also understand the requirements. You create some test plan documents. Okay, so once that is done, you directly write the scenarios, correct? So we'll say design scenarios, test cases, correct? And once the test cases have been done, then what you do? You do execution. Once the code has been deployed by the developer in the tester environment, you derive your scenarios and test cases will be designed in a Excel sheet. And once that is done, you start your executions, correct? And once this execution is done, then what you do? Reporting, and these will be again this thing. Execution is done. You, if you have defects, yes, you raise the defects, right? You raise the defects, and once the defects will be going to the developers to redesign the code, and again retesting is done. This is a round robin fashion. So once everything has been cleared, and you don't see any defects finally, then you provide a test sign off from your side. From your side, in the sense, from tester tester phase, the testing phase, you generally provide a test sign off. So this test sign off is nothing but it depends on project to project again. Few will send emails to the test manager saying like, okay, testing has been done, and these are so and so functionalities or the requirements that we have covered as part of this application, and we are providing a sign off, and we don't see any defects finally. Okay, so they'll write an email and send it to the QA test managers or other leads for the approvals. Okay, so once they have approved and everything is done, As I told you, it will be moved to the UAT phase. Okay, development phase. In testing also you have two teams kind of thing, your UAT users and SIT users. So in SIT users, SIT team will be separate and UAT team will be separate. So SIT, what they do, most of the defects, okay, most of the errors in the application initial stages of testing will be done in the SIT phase only. Okay, so SIT phase, SIT environment will again be different. UAT environment will again be different. So what I was saying, environments will be different, right? So development phase, developers will have some different environment, and that will be used by only developers. Okay. So testing phase, testing environment will be different. Again here, testing you can divide into two, like SIT users and UAT users. Okay, SIT system testing you do, and initial stages of testing, whatever you do, most of the defects will be raised by the SIT users only. Okay, in the SIT environment. So once they give, SIT team will give tester sign off from their side, so it will move to the UAT. Okay, UAT team will try to take that application, that environment will be different, and they'll do a high level testing over there. So SIT users, what they do, they also have some certain team, they do manual testing, automation testing, and once they provide the test sign off and defects are okay, SIT, like in SIT users, they do complete end-to-end functionality testing over here. Okay, every functionality, each module, each component will be tested by the SIT users. Okay, finally, no defect should be present, and they'll give a test sign off. So SIT team will be doing that, and once the test sign off is being provided, it will go to the UAT users. So UAT users will be a certain different team over there, and they generally, what they do is like the same kind of testing only, the same application, but they do a high level testing. Okay, high level modules, they'll do the testing, and yes, here also if there are any defects they can provide, but mostly in order to avoid, so let's say this UAT testing is done and they provide the test sign off. Okay, the test sign off will be provided by the UAT users, and finally it will go to the production environment. So that production environment is nothing but, again, the production environment team will be separate. Okay, so in the production environment, they'll do the testing over there, they'll see the code will be dumped over there, and testing will be done, and there also when they do the final testing and production bugs also you get. So mostly in order to avoid those production bugs, okay, so we generally, most of the testing process or the testing defects or errors or anything is there, we need to identify in the early stages of SIT testing only. Okay, in order to avoid the production errors. Fine. And yes, production bugs also you can get. So that level of testing will be different, and those people will be handling that production environment team. Okay. So once that is done, it will be moved to the live environment, like end users can use that. It will be finally delivered. Clear, guys? This is about the STLC and STLC process. Any doubts here? So these terminologies, these terminologies will generally use it day by day, like creating scenarios, test cases. So why I'm telling in these detail, because there will be some freshers also here who doesn't understand the testing process. So most of the people, they come from a non-IT background, and freshers will be there, and they doesn't know what is the concept of testing and development. So that's the reason I want to take two classes for this. So in detail, okay, for manual testing, you generally need to understand manual testing process is simple. So you need to do testing. So in testing also you need to follow something, right? You need to follow some rules over there. So rules are nothing but some workflow that you need to follow. So when you go to automation testing, so what is the basis of the automation testing? What you do in the automation testing? So you need to have some test cases in place beforehand, so that you try to automate the test cases. So I was talking about test cases. Test cases are nothing but, how do you define the test cases again? We need to go to the application, right? You need to understand the application first, and then application is understood. So how do you understand the application beforehand? You need to get the requirements. So that requirements, it will be placed in an FRS document. Okay, functional requirement specification document. It in detail, it will give the requirements. It will be the entire document will be with the requirements only. So you generally understand the requirements, and then you'll start your testing process. So execution, if you want to start, yes, you want to have some test cases there, right, in handy. So then you can go for the manual testing or the automation testing, right? So this is about the basic concepts that you need to know beforehand before going to any testing workflow process. Okay, you have 5 more minutes. If any doubts, you can talk.
Yeah, Deepti, as you just said, testing is of two types, SIT and UID.
Mm-hmm.
So can you please elaborate what SIT and UID, the full forms? Like UID or
See,
what is just understand.
testing is not two types. So testing can be different types. So types, if you talk about testing, you have performance testing, manual testing, automation testing. Okay. So those are nothing but the integration testing. Those are types of testing that you do. So the testing
Okay.
types, I'm not talking about the types here, the environments, I mean to say the teams. If you see
Okay.
testing team, okay, SIT team will be there and UAT team will be there. System integration testing and user acceptance testing. Okay,
Okay. Thank
so these are not the
you. Okay.
types. Okay, these are the different teams. You can say environments will be different. Okay, like okay, SIT team and UAT team. So if you talk about types, you have like performance testing. So generally, you also have load testing. Okay, load testing is nothing but okay, what they do as part of performance testing and load testing. Manual testing we will discuss. Manually, you will try to open the application and do the process manually. Manually, you understood the terminology. What is manually? I mean to say, you by hand you go and click the application using your hand and the mouse, right? So that is nothing but a manual process. Automation testing, again, you use some certain tools like Selenium, Tosca, UFT. So those certain tools, you design your test cases over there, automate your test cases over there, and try to provide some instructions to the tool, and then it will run for you. Correct? That is nothing but an automation testing. These are some types of testing that I was trying to explain. But SIT team will be different and UAT team will be different. And here, when it comes to the testing phase, SIT team, two teams will be there. Here in the system testing, like SIT team, there will be certain set of users over there, and the team will be there, and they need to do entire end-to-end functionality. Every functionality, each and every functionality will be tested by the SIT team only. By initial phases of testing will be done by the SIT team. Okay, so most of the defects or the errors will be raised by the SIT team. Got it? So once the defects has been done, then we'll follow the test sign off and everything will be happen, and it will go to the UAT team. UAT team, again, they will not do end-to-end functionality testing. They only do high-level testing. Got it? High-level testing is like main modules they will touch. The modules like register functionality is a main module, right? So register functionality, login functionality, so logout functionality. So main modules they will try to test, and they also provide the sign off. Once this is done, they'll go for the production environment. Okay, so before going to the end user, right, so they do a production environment testing also. The production environment T will be separate again there. So yes, here also they will be getting some defects, prod defects, you say that prod defects. So again it will go to the developers only. Whatever defects or the errors that every team is raising, that will be going to the developers only for redesigning the code. Okay, again it will come to the SIT team for the testing, retesting purpose. So this is like a round kind of round robin fashion, as I told you. So once the defect and everything has been resolved by product team and everything is done, then they will move this application to the end user for use. So it will go for a live environment. Clear? So types will be different, and these are the teams that I'm talking about. They'll segregate their testing into different teams, so that some team will be doing this process and some team will be doing this process, kind of thing. Clear?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, integration testing, unit testing, as I told you, developers will be doing that. And performance testing, load testing. So load testing, what they do is like, let's say you have some application over there and you provide some huge load over, or load in the sense like huge number of combinations of input to the application. So what you can say, take an application for an example, you give some huge input over there and try to see whether it is accepting that load, proper load, and trying to process in a correct particular time or not. So load testing, again, that team will be different and that process will be different. So it depends. The testing process, the testing types will be n number of testing, like load, performance, automation, manual. So these are types of the testing that I'm talking about.
Example, IRCTC site.
Sorry.
I'm saying example, IRCTC site
Okay.
for load testing. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Automation testing and manual. So this I will show this workflow. Like tomorrow we will talk about manual testing workflow. We'll take an application as an example and I will show you from the FRS document. FRS test plan document, scenarios document, test cases document, and bug tracking document. Okay. So any doubts so far? Project introduction. Okay, I'll continue tomorrow, guys. So if no doubts, you have 1 more minute. We will see. If you don't have any doubts, we can wind up for today. We'll meet tomorrow. Once this manual testing workflow is done, then we will move to the Tosca concepts. Okay. Okay, then fine, guys. We'll meet tomorrow. Then we'll wind up for today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.